Calumet was founded in 2007 in the United Arab Emirates. It's a collaboration of international authors and illustrators, and on their website it says they focus on books highlighting traditional Arabic culture alongside the modern challenges faced by today's children. They have 175 Arabic titles, many of which have been translated. They are dedicated to the progress through innovation. This specific publisher is what prompted me to focus on publishing in the Middle East. I was so blown away when I found their website on the Bologna search that I instantly emailed them, and they were so welcoming and willing to meet and to pull books depending on what I was trying to focus my project on. But in the hustle and bustle of preparing to go, they got overwhelmed and never emailed me back, which is totally understandable. So when I got to Bologna, I decided to just approach them and say hi and see if they had any time to meet. And they said, please sit down now. We can talk. We're more than willing. And I ended up talking to them for probably over an hour about publishing in the Middle East, their publishing house, their illustrations, their authors, the topics they focus on. And it was a really kind of intense and really impactful meeting that I had with them. The person I spoke with was the marketing director, and he was really interesting. A lot of the books that they focus on, and he explained this to me, not a lot, but like a majority, maybe not a majority, okay, a section of their books that they focus on are individuals with disabilities. And they're not explicitly saying these characters have a disability. A lot of times what they do is a more subtle approach where the child just happens to have a difference in the story, but it's not pointing out that they have a difference. And I think that's interesting because in the United States, a lot of times I feel like we have a lot of books that are, this child has a difference, we need to accept it, so we need to talk about it, which is also fine. But then there's also another layer of acceptance of the character just having a difference in the story and not that being the focus of it. And it seems like they were trying really hard to do that. And he even said that. So he was talking also about how United Arab Emirates is still developing as far as their acceptance of individuals and their acceptance of, other ways of thinking. And he opened up and said that he actually, for a long time, was very transphobic and homophobic, and that he realized that wasn't doing anybody any good. It only made him more anxious, and that he wasn't accepting of others. So he worked really hard on, his issues and his, feeling uncomfortable with those things. And he's gotten to a place where he is comfortable with it now. But this publishing house, I think, also had an effect on him as well. And I asked if, when they're hiring people, if that is something that they try to focus on, is trying to find individuals who are so accepting. And he said they don't explicitly look for people who are accepting, but it seems like the people that are attracted to work with them and that they're attracted to work with happen to be individuals who want to express and support and highlight these types of stories, which is really interesting. And he said, we're still developing how we're, as a society in the United Arab Emirates, and that you're from the United States. So, you're a lot further ahead than us, but we still have a long way to go. And I thought that was so interesting, going back to the whole, children in books that have disabilities. They're doing it in such a subtle way where we're doing it so a little bit more in your face. And I thought, it's interesting how they think they're so much, or he thought that they were so much more behind, and I was thinking that they were so much more ahead in that sense. Another aspect that I thought was really interesting is that I asked, I talked to them about how the books in the United States, from what I've observed in bookstores and what you mostly find online, that you can, that are being sent from the United States, not necessarily from the Middle East or France or the UK, a lot of times are books with educational or religious aspects. And he was saying how there's a specific series of books, which I'll show later on, that have origins in Muslim religion, but it's not necessarily a religious story or stories. But when they were trying to find publishers not a publisher, sorry, an illustrator and an author to create the stories, a lot of people were very hesitant because they didn't want to be seen as kind of glorifying religion, but they also didn't want to be seen as belittling religion. So it's a very delicate balance, as more so there than here, obviously. But it was interesting to hear that, because I feel like here a lot of times that's a lot of what you get, whereas there it seems like people maybe kind of shy away from that more, which I found really, really fascinating.